Hi, this is Robert Merchant, CCI Investments, here today to do a little short podcast in the mobile home park business as we talk about different topics. I'm going to keep it a short podcast. I have with me today one of my clients, Mark Crawford. Mark owns several parks. We operate the parks for him because that's what we do. We're mobile home park consultants. We operate, I think Kristen said, around what?
70.
About 70 parks out there across the United States, from California to Pennsylvania. And we're going to talk about the advantages of having a park in a big town and the advantages of having a park in a small town. If you're in a big town, unless you're in the area of the big town where you got to have somebody with a shotgun to collect your rent, then there's no advantages to that. But if you're in a good area in a big town, of course you have more people to draw from. So you'd probably rent more homes a month in, say, Atlanta, Georgia, than you would in Nashville, Arkansas, which is a little small town. But you'll also pay more for that property, and they don't come around a whole lot. So I'm going to focus mostly on a small town. The difference in the small town and the big town is a lot of times you can buy the park for a little cheaper in a small town, and it's easier to make friends with the officials. Because if you go into and buy a park in a small town, and by the way, we specialize in buying parks that have a bunch of park-owned homes that are vacant that we can send crews in and remodel. And I think our cost right now to remodel a home that we estimate, it's not really costing us this much, but we'd rather overestimate than underestimate, is around 15,000, Mark, is that right?
15 to 17,000 is what we're seeing. Prices are going up a little bit.
But that's that's a home that should go to the dump.
That's pretty heavy.
Okay, so anyway, you go into a mobile home park in a small town and you tear down the ones you're not going to fix, and you send a crew in here to just do the outside of the home. It costs us about $500 a home, right, Kristen?
For labor, yes.
For labor to go in and paint a home, fix the skirting a little bit, fix the steps. And then if you do the outside of the mobile home park and tear down the ones that you're not going to fix, it makes the appearance right away look so much different in that small town that the people notice it. Code enforcement, the mayor. If you were in Atlanta, they might not even pay any attention to it because they got so much stuff there. But if you're in a small town, there's more people going to pay attention. And you go in, you start remodeling the homes, and usually you don't have a lot of competition in a small town. You may have the projects, we call them, down in Mississippi, where I'm from. They affordable housing, they're apartments that are rented out by people that are low income. So if you have most people, if they have a choice of renting a apartment for $800 in the project, or they have a choice of renting a mobile home for $800, and they're both a 3-bedroom place, they're going to choose the mobile home over the apartment most of the time because they have a yard, not anybody live right next to them. And we find that the case most of the time. And in small towns, you don't really have to worry about somebody coming in and building a big, huge apartment complex across from you because they don't have the population to warrant it. So we like small towns and mobile home parks. I'm not saying you take a 2,000 population of a town of 2,000 and buy a 200 space mobile home park, because it's going to take you a long time to build that up. But I can tell you, I grew up out in the country from a town of about 2,000 people. And there's a mobile home park there, and I'm going to guess it's about 50 lots. And it was full when I was a teenager, and it's still full today. And my sister knows the people that own it, and if they ever get ready to sell it, she's going to call me. And I never get in front of a customer. I never do, but in that case there, I probably am, because I want it because I grew up there, you know what I mean? So on that one there, I'm probably just going to buy that one, but that's not our policy. Our policy is never get in front of the customer. And I know that Kristen's looking at me right now, so she knows I'm probably going to send it out to my customers and just hope none of them buy it, you know what I mean? But anyway,
So Robert, when we talk about these smaller towns, right, you're talking about some differences between the small towns and the big towns. Are there different things you do in the small towns to market and to rent those units?
Well, I don't do anything other than I own the company, but I'll be 70 on November the 20th, so I don't really do much. Rachel over here, say hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Can't see her. That's the vice president. That's my oldest daughter. She's the vice president of acquisitions for my company. She does marketing plans and turnaround plans and all the kind of stuff you got to have that you got to have somebody really smart to do. And then I got Earl over here. Earl sends out things. He's part of the acquisition department. He's the one running the camera today.
Hello.
And then we've got Kristen over here. This is my middle daughter, and she's the vice president of operations. So when it comes to questions about operations, I don't want to mess up the camera and get it all blurry and everything. So I'm going to say, Kristen, what's a couple of things that you do?
In the small towns for advertising,
Yes.
we try to make a relationship with HUD. So that's one of the most important things. Section 8 housing, HUD, whatever you want to call it. So going into...
I'll expand on that. When you're in a smaller town, you get to know the person from HUD. Your manager go down there and talk to them. Right now, I got Bill Cassidy going down to Jacksonville, Arkansas, meeting with those ladies over there, take them some donuts so they'll like him. And so we'll rent to them. And in Maquoketa, Iowa, we got 3 small parks in Maquoketa, Iowa. Well, it's 147 lots. Oh, that's a good example. That's not a big town. There's 140 lots. And we don't have any, we got one place for rent right now that's ready to rent because everything's rented. We just rent because we know the HUD people and they have a high demand for housing and they pay us top dollar because we take care of the tenants. We inspect our homes on a regular basis. And when you do this and you're in a small town, if you go in and paint all them homes on the outside and make sure they all look good on the outside, not only will you get more rent when you start fixing the inside of homes because everything looks good on the outside, but the people in the town will notice you more. And I know one thing Kristen does, she does open houses. So we go in and get donuts and stuff, a thermos of coffee, and we advertise the open house in the local paper. We advertise the open house and put up flyers everywhere. And we have our marketing department that puts it out on all of the websites. So I don't know what it is.
Facebook, Zillow,
Facebook,
apartments.com.
Zillow, apartments.com. We advertise this, and because you're in a small town, word gets around a little more. People come in, they leave their license, take the key, go look at the trailer, bring the key back, you get their license back. And I'll tell you, it works. We have 3 mobile homes for rent in Jacksonville, Arkansas right now that's ready to rent. And we have applications approved and deposits on people moving in on the 1st. And we took that park, went in and fixed everything on the outside of those trailers, started renting out homes and homes that we were getting that they used to get $550 for, and now we're getting $750 and $800 for, and everything's rented. We do have 4 more homes to fix, but they're not homes that need to be remodeled because they had tenants in them. They're just homes that need to be cleaned out, fixed, and the manager there we have can do those because they're not complete remodels. But I can tell you that in a small town, you get noticed more. They also get noticed more if you don't take care of the plan and you don't fix the trailers on the outside, and they don't like you, and the judge don't like you, and nobody likes you. But if you start fixing things in a small town, you get noticed more, and your park will do better. I mean, you've got parks in small towns. How's your park do?
Yeah, we're doing really well. Just the reputation of the park is, small town reputation is a lot to do with it. One of our parks, now that we've turned it around, the mayor comes by actually quite frequently and is talking with our on-site manager. And
Which one is that?
In West Point.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
We were talking before this little podcast. We were eating some finger sandwiches that my daughter made. I'm going to take them home because they're really good. But anyway, what do you said we were getting this much for rent. Now we're getting what?
Yeah, the average when we started the park, it was in disarray. I mean, when you're looking at these parks,
That means it was screwed up.
It was,
Okay.
Vacant homes without doors. I mean, just a typical what you would consider a distressed park. that you would say, I don't want to go anywhere near that park. Though we've put the time and effort into repairing all of those units. They've all rented now since, it's been a little over a year for the project. We talked about the plan in a previous episode. And now we're averaging, our average rent was around $450 for a park-owned home.
Right.
And now we're pushing closer to $700 a month in average, just because we've done the work to increase the value. The mayor comes by and comments about the look of the park and how he feels about it. So it's instead of a trash heap, it's now something that the city is proud of.
And as you have turnover, which you are going to have turnover in park-owned homes, we'll take that smaller home that brings our average to 700 because it's renting for $6 now. We'll rent it for $650, and the one that was at $750, we'll get $800. And then when Section 8 comes in, because of what we're doing, we can say, well, we're getting this, they'll raise it, and they like you. The big thing about it is, if you're in a smaller town, you get to know the HUD people, and they will give you the client that works down here and has a job at, say, Walmart, and can afford to pay $900 a month because you're taking care of the park. If you have a crappy park that don't take care of it, don't mow the grass and everything, but you still maybe fix the home according to HUD standards, and it's just barely meets HUD standards, they'll give you the $600 a month tenant. But if you fix that park, they'll give you the $800, the $900. We got 3 parks in a little town in Maquoketa, Iowa. We rent to a bunch of HUD tenants there, but we know the HUD people. Matter of fact, Jennifer, the girl in our office here that works for Kristen, that is in charge of that park, today told us that she's going to call the HUD office and talk to them about raising, because we don't have anything for rent. We're full. Mm-hmm. And you guys know the HUD people directly there, right?
Yes.
That's what it takes. I mean, all I'm saying is nothing wrong with buying a park in a big town. There is advantages to that. Most time you got to pay more money. But don't limit your options. Don't say, I ain't going to look at anything in a town that ain't close to $50,000 and 50,000 population and all that stuff. Because I can tell you, I personally have had quite a few parks in small towns and still have some in small towns that I haven't sold. And some of them that I did sell, I wish I'd have kept because they stay full. I mean, they really do. If you take care of them, if you inspect your homes, take care of them, it doesn't cost hardly anything once you get them fixed to maintain them. Because if you make sure your manager knows that they're going to be having to get that home ready to rent again when somebody moves out, they'll actually do their inspections. And then when you go on Zoom, now it's so easy that Kristen, y'all do Zoom with the ones that are ready to rent to make sure they're ready, do you not?
Yes, we do.
And that, you're going to miss things. Can't see everything on the camera with a thing, but you can see a whole bunch. You can make sure the front door closes good and they got cracks all around it. You make sure all the windows are not broken. You can make sure the plug-ins you can make sure that everything looks good as far as you can see. And if you do that, it'll rent. If it ain't renting, here's your 3 reasons why. Manager's not answering the phone, the home ain't ready to rent, or the manager's renting it and keeping the money. We'll talk about that in a later segment because it don't happen to us anymore since we have the Zoom and we go through. Because if it ain't renting and we got it ready and it ain't renting in a couple of weeks, Kristen gets on the phone with the manager and says, let's go look at that unit that ain't rented. If they've rented it, it ain't had it but 2 weeks. So we're getting, I can tell you, I love this business. And I like big towns, and I like small towns, and I like tenant-owned homes, and I like park-owned homes. We make a lot of money in small towns with park-owned homes. Because if you have a 30-space mobile home park, and you have the spaces rented, you're not going to get over $250 a month in a small town, maybe $300. So if I got 30 lots at $300, I'm going to get $9,000 a month. If I got 30 lots at $700, I'm going to get $21,000 a month. 21 is a bigger number than 9.
The 9, and the difference in expense, your expenses
a little more.
You have a little bit larger expense because they're park owned, but you still have a larger margin with the park owned homes.
Well, sure. Here's what it is. If I'm renting the trailers to the tenants there own their own home, I still got to have a manager, mowing the grass, trim the trees, unstop water and sewer breaks, and all that stuff. I got to do that. But here's a real roundabout. If I'm making $9,000 a month and I don't own the homes, tenant does, still going to cost me approximately 30%. So 9 times, that gives you 70% profit. So 9 times 7 is how much?
It's about $6,500.
So I'm gonna make $6,500 a month profit. If I own the homes and I'm bringing in 9 times 7, I got 30 times 7. I'm bringing in 21,000. That's gonna cost me 40%. So what's 60% of 21,000? Anybody know?
Probably about 14,000.
So 13 or 14,000 versus the other was
6,000.
7,500.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna double my profit number by owning the homes in most cases, provided you follow the rules, inspect your homes, and keep them fixed so that when the tenant moves out, you can get somebody else right back in there so you don't have a big vacancy factor. Anyway, we're gonna have some more of these little podcasts, short and sweet and to the point. My name is Robert Merchant. You can reach out and touch me at 209-996-4075. You can also check us out at mobilehomeparkconsultants.com. Thank you and have a good day.